This video is intended to describe a lightblade talisman named Inspiration. Joining me today will be my whimsical stick figure chakra map, my pen for, of course, illustrating finer points of the construct, as well as the leather that will be installed after this video is fully notarized. I'll go ahead and hop straight into the primary blade banding, seen much like so, vaguely resembling a figure 8 to be a containment of perpetual recycling of energy. So starting off with the transmutation blade band ratio seen right here, that runs laterally like so, as well as up the sides, then lateral once again right here to be a contained ignition sequence of the primary blade band scaffolding. Starting off with hematite, a very fantastic iron-based grounder of all energy through the root chakra into the earth stars, into the earth star meridian matrix for reprocessing. In tandem with smoky quartz being another transmutation agent of taking negativity and purifying it by grounding all excess energy through the root, into the earth stars, into the earth meridian matrix for reprocessing. So the two together can be considered the transmutation ratio I employ quite religiously, if you would, for any given construct, based on certain aspects of also being a very intensive purification agent and energetic dialysis promoter, as well as being a contingency to ground all the excess energy of the other components yet to be mentioned, which will be quite vast and quite vivid, to of course bring the tangibility range into the earth to indeed make the magic real, to of course be an anchor ground point to bring it into fruition of tangibility. So like I mentioned, the transmutation ratio runs like so. Then this is where, of course, the necklace will be installed right at this apex, consisting of clear quartz to be a neutral programmable subcapacitation of the ignition sequence with the lovely legendary lapis lazuli, like so, completing the circuit grounding into the transmutation lateral band ratio seen right here. Lapis, of course, just like turquoise, is a blue-ray stone of great notoriety that has literally been the favorite of millions for thousands of years for a pretty good reason. Lapis is a very fantastic 5th and 6th chakra stimulant with wind elemental connotations, as well as great notarization of Egyptian magical utilization, and was considered a true precious stone for thousands of years, at least in our recorded history, which also works as a great sovereign induction agent to be stimulating to one's highest truth connection to who they are in creation, which is going to be a very nice antithesis complementary frequency to the primary blade band seen right here, which I'm going into right now. So, as a preface, this is a rather opulent, intensive gold ray construct, obviously, by the color ray resonant ignition sequence seen right here, and like I mentioned, quite opulent based on this configuration. Starting off with golden healer quartz, which is an impeccable gold white light Christ source frequency alignment to the emanations of creation. So obviously in a metaphysical application, that's kind of irreplaceable as far as I'm concerned, and worth its weight in gold as golden healer quartz to be an impeccable connection to source energy, particularly as a subcapacitation agent for the rest of the blade band ignition sequence, which recirculates into the transmutation ratio. And why that's quite special is obviously having the ignition of the gold white light emanation of the heart of creation's source. That is very conducive to put the source in sorcery for the practitioner who will be wielding this, quite obviously. And another extremely prominent and very opulent gold ray stone in this construct would be the faceted Libyan gold tektite, Libyan gold desert sandglass as well, another name for it, faceted in a bead format, which is very, very fantastic. So the Libyan gold tektite is a lesser known, vibrationally speaking, cousin to moldavite that is quite powerful in its own right and was quite well utilized by the pharaoh caste of the Magi God King of the dynasties of Egypt to be carved into a scarab beetle to be the centerpiece of the finery of their breastplate. So its obvious connotations of mythical, magical power were well represented in the Egyptian high priest caste Magi God King utilization for a pretty good reason. So in aspects also in modern interpretation representation, This would be a very powerful cardinal fire energy that has an extremely powerful stimulation to the sacrum and the solar plexus. The fire elemental corresponds to the chakra calm, yet it has a storm overtone that's very illuminating to the entire energy body. So in my humble opinion, when it comes to a gold ray frequency in the mineral kingdom, I consider this to be a tremendously potent and perhaps unsurpassed variation of it based on its interesting cosmic orientation. And hey, the pharaohs thought so, so that must hold true to this day. And so the aspect too of this intensive gold ray illumination also illuminates the entire chakra column besides just the sacral and the solar plexus, the fire elemental composition, but also brings a golden ray of illumination to the entire energy field with great potency, and as well as a very powerful manifestation agent by intensifying the solar plexus gold ray will to such a high degree, that of the Magi God King of old, if you would, that it makes for a very powerful luminous energy stimulation of manifestation, particularly in connection to divine will, which was what I also considered a tremendous dharmic accelerant, just like Moldavite, which I will get into in due time. Then, to follow this legendary placement of Libyan gold tektite, the fantastic gold ray stone of the pharaohs, truly, without exaggeration, I can say that, is golden rutilated quartz. Rutilated quartz is a titanium dioxide that is actually inside a quartz structure, which makes for a massive acceleration intensification of whatever frequencies around it. So rutilated quartz is already very vivid, intensive frequency, but as a subcapacitation agent with golden healer quartz igniting the high heart source connection, with the tremendously royal sovereign power of Libyan gold tektite being highly intensified into Libyan gold tektite, makes for a tremendously powerful acceleration of the golden ray primary focus, which is very evident on the primary disposition of inspiration is to have a very impeccable divine source gold ray emanation and a very high yield concentration, with many other components to complement that in a closed-loop reactive circuit. Okay, so that'd be the primary blade band, which, like I said, vaguely resembles a figure 8 coursing through this primary gold ray ignition sequence, going into the transmutation ratio, then to the complementary apex of lapis lazuli, to be a nice blue ray stimulant, to the excessively powerful gold ray emanation, which of course has nice little solar plexus overtones as well as sacrum, as a very luminous, very vibrant, bright gold white light source emanation device that's actually quite potent. So that'd be the blade band scaffolding, and why I mention this also is this works as a way to have the primary ignition sequence contain and recirculate the energy of all the other crystals seen right here in a closed-loop reactive circuit, all grounded to a central primary wire, which would be the main vein of the construct, to generate vibrational compound interest as an emanation as a whole. Okay, without further ado, I'm going to get straight into the blade face components, which are quite vast. I'll start on this side because it's slightly more simple to describe first. At the very, very apex of the device right here is a lovely Tibetan black quartz. Tibetan black quartz from Tibet is a fantastic master healer I employ quite frequently for this exact purpose of being a full light body stimulant and a very dramatic grounder of energy, as well as a massive expansion. So the two-way connection of the Soul Star and Earth Star are very well stimulated by this, with a very ohm frequency source emanation, which also inherently makes a very powerful protective shield of having the source frequency ground through successfully for a continuity circuit. I gotta make this guy behave so it actually holds my whimsical chakra map in place. Indeed, the Ark of the Covenant is actually a functional component here, more than just for looks. It actually literally is my paperweight. Okay, let's try that again. Where was I? Tibetan black quartz. So the aspect also of Tibetan black quartz being very complementary to this design is to also, of course, encourage a full light body pathway that is also very protective. And also another ohm frequency source alignment emanation obviously goes a long way in the heavy concentration of a gold white light generating device. Then above that is the mighty fulgurite. Fulgurite is literally petrified lightning striking sand, carrying the energy of lightning in a crystalline format, which is very potent crystalline ally that was an ancient spirit tool of First Nation shamans to intensify their prayers back to Creator as well as it being a tremendous power of lightning full light body simulator as well, to have a very powerful emanation, as well as being a dramatic manifestation intensifier, which actually goes very nicely with the intensive manifestation capacity of Libyan Gold Tektite. So that, of course, is cardinal storm energy of literally lightning cotton crystalline format, which is really fabulous and very powerful for the rest of the construct's intensive illumination capacity. Then right here is a lovely piece of amber. So amber, though not technically a mineral, has been metaphysically utilized as a crystalline ally, if you would, loosely I say that, as a great abundance transmutation agent. So of course this is prehistoric petrified tree sap that is quite powerful in being a very solar, sunny transmutation agent. It works very complementary with smoky quartz for this purpose, to simply turn negativity into positivity very quickly and transmute anything that is not of the highest frequency, which is very useful in a very dynamic, powerful construct such as this, as well as being a classic notarization of abundance as well. So simply, of course, if negativity is dispersed, obviously energy runs better. That's fertile grounds for abundance, quite simply. So that's a very fantastic piece right there of a lovely solar transmutation gold ray emanation, which of course has a lovely summation to the solar plexus as well, since of course it's a concentrated vibratory theme. Then right here is a very special stone called Himalayan Golden Azeztulite. Obviously comes from the Himalayas and is a fantastic gold white light source emanation alignment frequency in its own right that I have really truly enjoyed for nearly a decade now in application. So Himalayan Golden Azeztulite has a very intensive solar plexus activation, of course, but also has a very powerful source emanation heart alignment as well, which almost bleeds the source energy of the heart's quantum connection to creation into one chakra, which is essentially alignment of divine will, which is very nice. And also, I got a little inspired there in my voice inflection. But the aspect also of this frequency has a tremendous potency to kindle the emanations of the great central sun of the gold ray in the field, which is why its dominance and also its large placement is very critical for the intended goal of making a very potent opulent construct in service to the wielder as she serves creation. So that Himalayan Golden Azeztulite brings a very powerful gold ray emanation that's already very well concentrated through this construct into a higher octave of source connection. Just like golden healer quartz, just another variety of an emanation that basically produces the same emanation alignment result, yet a heavier concentration of its vibrational compound interest. So those two together are quite fabulous for the purpose of aligning to gold white light source energy alignment, which is the inspirational construct concept before me. Now, this side's a little more spicy in the opulence, starting off with golden topaz, actually seen in 2 points to maximize that golden topaz emanation. So golden topaz, just like clear topaz, is a classic stone of opulence and notoriety from ancient history and magic utilization. Yet the golden topaz has a certain aspect of being a lovely gold and kind of pinkish high heart source alignment emanation as well, and being a very powerful solar plexus stimulant as well in that connection. So golden topaz is very powerful for emanating focused energy of manifestation as well. So this is truly a dynamic powerhouse as I notarize it right now, and it really does show its complete powerful golden ray emanation concentration with the golden topaz in a very opulent, lovely specimen here and here for 2 different points of the golden topaz range, which is of the essence of this gold ray construct. Then right here would be sunstone. Sunstone is a very beneficent sunny energy based on the feldspar family, as a very lovely sacrum and solar plexus fire energy stimulant that actually is quite the blessing of the energy field, which is very illuminating, very uplifting to the emotional body and the creativity and the confidence and inspiration of the construct. So obviously, the construct inspiration has to have certain crystalline components to really honor the archetypal name and do it justice as much as absolutely possible. And sunstone is a very, very sunny, fun energy that is very complementary to the solar source energy primary emanation. And to get it very, very over the top and opulent, if you would, would be a lovely piece of phenakite seen right here, terminated directly to the golden topaz as well as the sunstone right here in this trifecta. Phenakite is quite the legendary stone that is a very, very powerful third eye stimulant, and perhaps, in my opinion, one of the top 3 third eye busters, if you would, and the crown and the soul star and non-physical chakras in a very dynamic alignment. And how it's very useful in a closed loop reactive circuit, at least in my findings and application of my life's work, is also that broadening spectrum of intensive white light that phenakite is, also broadens the entire chakra column light body as a whole for a full unified stimulation, which is, in my opinion, metaphysically irreplaceable to literally broaden the entire spectrum of light potential of the chakra column, which of course transfers to the physicality and the conscious self. So the phenakite brings a very high premium source connection induction through the entirety of the construct, which is very, very potent. And so phenakite, like I mentioned, is a very intensively powerful third eye crown stimulant, and yet the entire chakra column gets broadened from the influence of phenakite, which makes it very precious for metaphysical endeavors. Then moving on to the legendary moldavite seen right here. So moldavite is a tremendously powerful green ray stone of cosmic origin that is associated with Holy Grail legends, things of that nature. But moldavite, of course, is the quintessential storm, heart chakra stimulant connection to creation. And so the aspect of moldavite getting a bad rap for being it's quite intense is that it's very rapid and intensive in aligning one's emanation of heart to that of creation in a very dramatic, obvious, potent way. Hence its notoriety on media streams like TikTok have gone on the rise, because it is quite the legendary powerhouse. Which, of course, it's a little dose of the green heart connection of one's true dharmic template path, represented right here with, like I mentioned thrice more times at least, vibrational compound interest of this intensive closed-loop reactive circuit. So which gives it a tremendous boost of cosmic alignment connection to one's true sovereign self, which is the big aspect of this device also, as a little segue, is that this device is a very empowering construct in a lot of capacities. So to be empowered into one's connection to creation is where moldavite comes in to be employed with great effect. That was a mouthful. And speaking of mouthful, so above that, just like lapis, another stone that of course is a favorite of millions for thousands of years would be turquoise. Turquoise is a fantastic ancient grandfather ally that has been utilized literally across the world with great notoriety, which I will omit because that would probably add at least 10 more minutes to the video. But the turquoise aspect, why it's relevant here, is also the capacity to be an impeccable fifth chakra stimulant of wholeness of all the spectrums of earth, fire, water, and wind, which would be the terrestrial 4 elements focused in the fifth chakra. So that's basically, of course, puts one in their sovereign truth and draw upon their wholeness of who they are in creation as they serve creation. So in that regard, turquoise is pretty irreplaceable and very amazing, fantastic, tremendously not overrated crystalline ally for any given light worker adept. So that'd be that. And then up here, this will be the section where this leather will be installed after this video is completed. But right here, this would be blue lace agate to stabilize the fifth chakra, which would be very helpful for such an intensively source inspirational energy construct to have low complementary frequencies to, of course, balance it out for impeccable vibratory yield resonance as they get out there and give them heaven, quite simply. So blue lace agate is a water elemental stabilizer of the fifth chakra that is quite amazing to have a stabilizing influence on the fifth chakra as one's truth blossoms into reality. And of course, in a teaching position or counseling position, having a stabilized fifth chakra to draw upon the great wisdom to be of assistance to those under their jurisdiction, that is where that guy truly shines tremendously. Then over here would be seraphinite. Seraphinite is an incredible green ray seraphic crystalline ally that is really impressive in the capacity to, of course, obviously green ray stimulate the heart chakra, yet it stimulates the entire light body column as a whole and has a very strong resonance frequency to the entire seraphic realm, which is incredible. Which, of course, also brings a strong induction of seraphic frequency to a physical range, which is a great way to dismantle any patterns of dis-ease from the top and bottom to the field. So any aspect that'd be a stagnancy of a outmodeled pattern that would be contributing to a malignant manifestation, I guess I could say, would be very well discharged and dismantled, very gently though, thank goodness, from the seraphic frequency induction from the entire light body. So it is a true master healer I employ quite frequently for this distinct range as well, just like Tibetan black quartz work in tandem to stimulate the entire light body by themselves and dismantle any impediments that be impeding one's highest dharmic template grounded into the earth. That's the big goal of those guys in conjunction right there. And I could definitely say it's one of my top 5 favorite crystals. That's quite the ambitious statement. Obviously, my life's obsession is crystalline vibratory outputs, pretty inherent in this last 21-minute rant. But the aspect of why, too, is its versatility and practical utilization for assistance of any situation. Having that healing source seraphic frequency is irreplaceable, in my humble opinion. Okay. So then right here at the very apex is actually a lovely Herkimer diamond. Herkimer diamonds are a very lovely clear quartz spectrum of the highest resonance in the quartz family, just about. And also make a very fantastic higher chakra stimulation. And where they really shine in a spirit tool is also a dramatic intensification agent. Just like root-related quartz also work in a circuit to dramatically intensify the entire range of the frequency and bring a very vivid source connection, conscious self alignment as well. So it's quite the versatile application in an opulent construct such as this. Okay, that would be all the crystals mentioned thus far, besides the ones I saved intentionally for last. And so before I continue further, the entire wooden core of this device is actually from Sedona, Arizona. From my favorite vortice between Bell Rock and Courthouse Mesa, there's one juniper who's become my best tree buddy in Sedona. And so this is actually juniper wood from my favorite tree buddy between, once again, Bell Rock and Courthouse Mesa, right in the dead center of their vortice. That's a very special spot. And so that's a fun fact. So this wood indeed does come from the wonderful legendary Ruby City, which is very nice. Then, last but certainly not least, as a true capstone to this entire dissertation, would be the selenites seen right here as well as the kyanites. So the reason I say this for last is for a greater perspective. The last 22 and a half minutes I've been ranting about this construct. Selenite by itself is a very fantastic third eye, seventh, and non-physical chakra engagement of virtually unparalleled mineral kingdom to create a two-way connection to the conscious self and the higher self by rapidly aligning the circuit and stimulating the higher self connection point in a very powerful way that unlocks that gateway. And so the big aspect too, but that connection also brings high frequency induction that clears stagnant energy from the field as well, which can be considered its own master healer for that purpose. But where it truly shines, that I do love talking about as a capstone, is that selenite has the capacity in a circuit like this to take the entire frequency mentioned thus far. It can purify all these crystals perpetually. It can, most importantly, harmonize all these crystals perpetually, and then amplify or intensify. So you take the trifecta of purification, amplification, and then harmonization of all these crystals in one closed-loop reactive talisman. That's truly grounds for a triumphant trio, to put it lightly. That is why I do enjoy talking about that last, because it's a very nice capstone cherry on top to the entire dissertation. Then right here will be black kyanite. Black kyanite is a very rapid bridger of energy into the earth, virtually unparalleled mineral kingdom. Black kyanite has a very reactional grounding sequence that takes all the excess energy, makes sure it grounds into the earth very quickly, and is as required particularly by the highest good of the wielder for any given situation, which also makes it very situation reactive, which can be considered another layer of etheric transmutation Teflon to ensure the excess energy is always discharging and recirculating for maximum energetic transmutation dialysis, which is quite spectacular, as well as being a tremendous way to bridge the energy very quickly to indeed make the magic real. Then over here is the lovely blue kyanite. So, like I mentioned, black kyanite, blue kyanites are perhaps the most powerful bridgers of energy in the mineral kingdom, which is a whole long metaphysical topic, which I may omit some of the rabbit hole deep dissertation, but I'll do my best to keep it concise and simple. So, the aspect of blue kyanite also makes a very fantastic third eye simulation, as well as a bridging patterns through the entire field. So the aspect of black and blue kyanite work together very quickly to bridge energy patterns very quickly to a premium optimum in configuration with one's highest self dharmic template, as well as being a very tremendous way to, of course, transfer energy to those under her jurisdiction in service to creation, which is what the big magic of kyanite's about too, is of course having this energy be very transferable to those under her jurisdiction, as well as family, you name it. It's kind of like taking a flash drive and uploading it to a computer that's part of a network that will transfer the energy for the entire collective connection points. Okay, that's getting almost a little too rabbit holey. But that's exactly why they're there as a distinct function, to make the energy very rapid. And also, once again, as a preface, it also works as another etheric Teflon transmutation ratio to ensure the energy is bridging so rapidly, so quickly that stagnant energies cannot maintain the field. That would be, of course, compromising to one's highest energetic integrity. The whole, if you would. Okay. So that would be the idea of the entire crystalline composition now notarized. Then, last but not least, would be the concept of the leather installation seen right here. So this is far more than just aesthetic, but it does indeed have a more completion aesthetic aspect to it. I'll go ahead and do that just for dissertation's sake, as well as this right here, to kind of give a vague idea before I sign off and make this thing fully operational. Roughly, like that. Okay, so actually this has a distinct purpose more than aesthetics of being a color therapy resonance of the gold and white energies, which is very complementary to the entire vibratory construct, as well as B, acting as an insulation device to condense the excess energy of this hood section, and also C, to also protect the subtle crystal seen right in here, as it's of course being worn and wielded like a talisman. And also, D, it definitely gives it a very nice aesthetic completion, particularly when it's cut appropriately to size. It'll be, to the best of my ability, adhered in even proportions to, of course, be a heavy homage to the golden white ray emanation, which is the entire purpose of this construct. So that, of course, leads me to segue into the entire overview finalization, is that this construct is designed to be a very tremendous, intensive gold white ray source alignment energizer that could be worn on the person to be a personal construct emanation of great potency in this aspect, to be consciousness assisted technology wielded by the wielder in service to creation as she gets out there and gives them heaven. That basically be the summary of the entire construct. And it's a very, very opulent rendition with many crystalline structures that indeed I feel would make a pharaoh blush, perhaps, based on its versatile range and dynamic engagements. Yet, the entire concentration is that very much of the gold-white light ray emanation of source energy is the high concentration to make the, quite simply, to also put the source in sorcery in the service of wielding energy for those under her jurisdiction in creation, quite simply. I feel the time has come to conclude this rant. Well, I pray that everybody has a very inspirational day, anyone that watches this, and may the force be with us all, and 1,000 blessings.